All right. I have a 2i and a radical 7 given to me. What does that mean that I'm missing?
You're missing the negative 2i and the negative square root 7.
Thank you. I was like this close from saying good and just moving on. So now I know I have 4 terms here. I have 4 zeros, which means when I set up my problem, x minus, x minus, x minus, that means I need 4 of these. I'm going to plug in one of them into each spot. 2i, negative 2i, radical 7, negative radical 7. I'm going to just clean this up for myself. All right. When I start multiplying here, I do not want to multiply an I with a radical because you're going to start getting confused with so much going on. So when you pair them up, I always pair up the I with its pair. And then after, I'll pair up the radical with its pair. Let's do the red side first. X times x is x squared. X times 2i is a positive 2ix. Negative 2i times x is a negative 2ix. And a negative 2i times a positive 2i is a negative 4i squared. What happens here? They cancel out, good. You have a positive 2ix and a negative 2ix. These two are just going to cancel with each other. So I have x squared minus 4i squared. Now let's think about what I squared means. I'm just kind of show you a little chart here that we're going to make. When I have I, that means the square root of a negative 1. I squared would mean square root of negative 1 squared. Square roots and squares are opposite. They're inverses, which means they cancel. This cancels with this. Therefore, I squared is just a negative 1. If I keep this chart going, I cubed, you may use this year, maybe not. I know at least if you take pre-calc next year, for sure you will. I cubed is just, it's basically an I squared times an I, which means a negative 1 times a radical of negative 1, which is just a negative radical negative 1. Don't worry, it's not going to get confusing at the very end. You'll see the pattern. Because as soon as I go to I to the 4th, that just means I squared times I squared, which is just negative 1 times negative 1, which is just a 1. Since I'm back at 1, that means I to the 5th is just I to the fourth times I. So 1 times radical negative 1 is just a negative radical negative 1. So my pattern repeats itself. Because then I to the sixth is the same as I squared. I to the seventh is the same as I to the third. And I to the eighth is the same as I to the fourth. And it's going to keep repeating after every 4, every 4, every 4. So if you were to make any like sticky note or something to have in front of you to help you out, your sticky note needs to be of just those 4. And you know that it repeats itself every single time. So now it's like, well, why is this important? Because now down here, I have something that says a negative 4I squared. In my chart above, it says that I squared is a negative 1. So negative 4 times a negative 1 is a positive 4. Now my red side is done. I finished half of the work for this problem. Let's look at the blue side now. Same thing with distributing. X times x, x squared, x times radical 7 is a positive radical 7x. Negative radical 7 times x is a negative radical 7x. And now this one here, negative radical 7 times radical 7. That's going to be a negative radical 7 squared. What happens here?
They cancel.
They cancel, good. What did I say happens here? A radical.
It loses the radical.
Say that again?
It loses the radical.
Good. They're inverses, so they just cancel. So really all I have left in my blue spot is x squared minus 7. So now let's combine these. And let's finish the problem off by distributing. You could do the box method if you prefer it. I'm going to do distributing, whichever works for you. X squared and x squared makes x to the fourth. X squared and negative 7, negative 7x squared. 4 and x squared is a positive 4x squared. 4 and negative 7 is a negative 28. What can combine?
Negative 7x squared and 4x squared.
Good.